Welcome back to the Unlockable podcast, guys. So today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. This episode is going to be part one of a two-part series where we talk about the death of physical media. So in this episode, we will be covering why physical media is dying and the pros and cons of physical media itself. Then next episode, we'll be talking about companies who are trying to save this dying form of media. Let's get started.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Unlockable podcast. I'm your host, Christian, and joining me as always is Hannah.
Hello.
Hannah, we've got a very special episode today. We've been wanting to do this topic for a while.
Yes, actually this was one of our very first ideas for the show.
Yes, ma'am, and it's something that is super close to our hearts as collectors. But first, tell me, what have you been buying and what have you been playing?
So I have been playing Paper Mario and the Origami King.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I bought it day one at Walmart for $50. And I think we talked about this last time, how it was a conundrum. I didn't know if I wanted to get it from Walmart or GameStop or whatever. A conundrum it was. But yeah, so I bought it and I've only played it like 3 or 4 hours. I haven't really gotten that much into the gameplay besides like the hand-holding stuff, so I can't really give an opinion on it, but I liked it so far. I think the humor's there. And so far the characters are fine. And then what I've bought, let's see. I bought Moving Out by Team 17 for the Switch. Yes,
I love this game.
Yeah, so I love the Overcooked series by Team 17, so I figured it was on sale for like $20 on Amazon, so I figured why not try out one of their other series. And then I also bought Killer Queen Black, Dead Cells, and Daemon X Machina. All for the Switch.
Of course.
I was very excited about those. A lot of those were on sale. And then I also bought, because I can't stop myself, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The pin that came with the pre-order bonus at GameStop. Same thing with the Link's Awakening one and the Paper Mario one.
You got those all on eBay?
Got those on eBay and then Mercari.
Nice.
I know, I was very excited. I'm part of the pin collectors now.
Do you have a one of those cork boards with all the pins on them?
I don't, but as we talked about last time, I have a jean jacket that I put them all on.
Oh, yeah.
That weighs 1,000 pounds.
Very cool.
And that's pretty much it from my end. What about you?
What have I been playing? Oh, I wanted to say Dead Cells looks awesome. I've been wanting to play it's just like there's so many Metroidvanias, like they come out so often, but Dead Cells looks awesome. I want to play Hollow Knight as well, so you have to let me know if you play that one.
I will.
But as for me, I've been playing here's a Metroidvania, Ori and the Blind Forest on Xbox One. I think I might have mentioned it, who the heck knows. I'm almost done with it now, and really just a gorgeous game with an awesome atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. And then there's Red Dead 2 I beat. I've been playing that one off and on since it came out in like 2018 or something.
Jeez, dude.
So I'm glad to have that under my belt. I know. I've had a lot of free time with summer break, and I just sat down and spent like 20 hours finishing it up. It's honestly a really great story. For someone that doesn't care about story, like that was a pretty awesome story that kept me coming back. I need to beat the epilogue still, but I beat the main story. Mega Man 3 I played through with my cousin. We're playing all the Mega Man games together, and that one was a struggle at the end. Those old Mega Man games are struggle.
I heard they're all difficult.
All difficult. All 3 of them that I've played have been difficult. I also beat Batman Arkham City, which the ending came up on me like I was so expecting the game to like be a whole nother. I thought I was only halfway done whenever I got to the end. So I don't know. That game ended really fast. And that pretty much sums it up for me as far as what I've been playing and buying. I got myself an IPS V2 mod for my Game Boy Advance. And I showed it off on Instagram. I'm like really freaking proud of this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. I am in love with the screen, the brightness and everything. For the first time in like 17 years, I can finally see the Game Boy Advance's screen. It's lovely.
So for us simpletons listening, what does that mean you modded it?
Okay, so I had an old Game Boy Advance, really ugly, really bad condition. I took out the motherboard and all the buttons and everything, and I bought myself a new screen, which is known as the IPS V2 screen, and I bought myself a new shell and new buttons, and by new I mean there are people out there that make these like for a living. um, and yeah, I put it all together with the original motherboard, and now I've got a super bright screen. The only thing that went wrong with it was somewhere along the soldering process. There's an optional soldering process, right? So you can change the brightness 10 different levels, and mine is currently at the max level, and something went wrong with the wiring, so now I can't change the brightness. But honestly, it's perfectly fine as it is. I don't have a problem with it.
So the screen is better than a Game Boy Advance SP, is what you're saying?
Yes, I am. Thank you for helping me clarify that. Yeah, it's better than the SP. It's better than the SP 101 model. It's the best Game Boy Advance screen that you can get right now.
Dang.
And it's the version 2, so it's fixed some of the problems that I guess the IPS had. I saw people complaining about screen tearing on the internet, which I'm not even sure what that means, but I'm glad that I don't have to worry about it. And I got myself some Game Boy Advance games. I got, most notable, I got Daredevil, I got Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which both of those games, the boxes are very difficult to find. And another notable one was Super Mario Brothers 3, like the NES game that was ported to the Game Boy. I got that one, all three of those I got complete in box off eBay over the past like month, and super happy about those. I'm on a crazy GBA binge right now.
I know.
Oh yeah, I was on OfferUp and I met a guy to trade. I had one of those N64 drawers. I'm sure you've seen them on Instagram and stuff. They hold cartridges for your N64 games. They're like all black and they say Nintendo 64 on the front.
Yeah, I have two of them.
Oh, okay. This one was in like, I don't know, 5 out of 10 shape, and it's kind of beat up and it doesn't work the way it should. So it was just collecting dust in my room. So I put it up on OfferUp, and a local collector, hit me up and wanted to trade for it. He showed me some games he had. I got like a Super Nintendo game called Hyperzone, which looks awful, and then I got 4 GameCube games. I got Carmen Sandiego, Army Men's Sarge's War, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and the Player's Choice version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom. I have the black label, but this Player's Choice version is actually super hard to find, so I was happy to get that from him.
Really? Isn't that the opposite? Usually the Player's Choice is the most common one?
Typically, yeah. But I guess there's a few Player's Choices on GameCube that are very scarce.
Huh. I did not know that.
Happy to enlighten you. All right, so we're going to move on to the news now. And you're up.
Okay, this is very, very, very exciting news because I talk about this all the time, but a Skyward Sword for the Switch, I guess it's Skyward Sword HD, listing for the Switch has been found on Amazon UK. How exciting!
As soon as I saw it, I had to text you, and of course you'd already seen it before that.
I did already see it, and I was almost in tears. I was so excited. But it was obviously taken down now, so if it was a mistake, we don't know. And then along the same lines, Breath of the Wild 2 Collector's Edition was also found. The listing was found on a French retailer website, WT&T, never heard of them. But it's the same website that leaked the existence of The Witcher 3 on the Switch. So hopefully it's real. And it's coming soon. Maybe.
Well, we already know there's going to be a collector's edition. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but why would it be up now? Does that mean there's going to be a direct and then they're going to be like, hey, it's coming? Or is it just a coinkydink? We don't know.
I know I mentioned this yesterday when we were talking, but whenever Nintendo finally does hit us with the direct, it's just going to be an extreme amount of greatness. We're not even going to be able to contain it.
They've been holding back so much stuff. And then next in the news is Animal Crossing has sold over 7 million units, and it's become the third best-selling game of all time in Japan. behind Pokemon Blue and Red and Pokemon Silver and Gold.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That blows my freaking mind.
That's crazy.
And then its New Horizons has sold more than the entire Metroid series combined. That is so sad for you Metroid fans. I am so sorry. That's good, though. I mean, I'm not an Animal Crossing fan, but good for them. They'll keep making those games forever, as long as they keep selling bajillions and bajillions of copies.
And we know that freaking quarantine had a huge part to play in this. I mean, people that would never play video games bought a Switch and bought that game.
Well, yeah, the Switches were sold out for, like, ever.
Mm-hmm. People were settling for freaking the lights if they had to.
I think it's still hard to find them, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they're super easy to find.
And next in the news, for all of you mobile gamers out there, there's a feud going on between Apple and Epic Games.
I love it.
So apparently, Epic Games rolled out an update that allowed Fortnite players to buy V-Bucks straight from Epic Games rather than going through Apple. So essentially what that means is Apple wasn't getting a cut of the revenue. I don't know what the specific, amount of revenue they're getting, but obviously it's something. Mm-hmm. So Epic was like, yeah, we're going to discount this one and you can buy it directly from us, or you can pay more and buy it through Apple. So obviously people are like, why wouldn't I buy the cheaper one for the same thing? So Apple got really upset, and obviously it violated Apple's terms of service. So they removed Fortnite from the Apple Store. And the same thing happened with Google and Google Play. So Google also removed Fortnite from the Google Play Store. And there's lawsuits everywhere. Everyone's suing everybody. And there hasn't really been a conclusion yet. So I guess we just kind of have to wait and see.
Did you see that black and white trailer that they threw Apple under the bus?
Yeah, it was literally not a recreation, but a parody of Apple's like first presentations or whatever. That's crazy.
I was laughing. That was great.
I mean, Apple is huge. I mean, I know Epic Games and Fortnite's big, but I mean, Apple's big too.
Yeah.
And then next in the news, Nintendo had their Indie World presentation. I watched it. Did you watch it?
No, ma'am. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
I think it was yesterday too, or maybe 2 days ago. Anyway, I liked it. It was fun. Any news from Nintendo was fun. And then I have the list of games here. So we have Hades, and then Raji, which I've heard so many people talk about. They're very excited for that one.
Yeah, what's going on with that one?
I think this is the one that was inspired by Indian culture and Indian mythology, I think. I mean, it looks really good. It looked really good. Nice. I hope it gets a physical release of some sort. The next one is Spiritfarer. That one looked fun. And then an update for Untitled Goose Game.
Yes.
It's going to add multiplayer. How exciting.
I'm pretty excited.
So now there's 2 gooses instead of 1.
Geese?
Oh,
goose
yeah,
eye?
Geese.
It is definitely geese.
Oh, man. Gooses. Oh, whatever.
Untitled Geese Game coming September 23rd.
The geese are leased, man. And then the next one is a short hike in Torchlight 3, and then Takeshi and Hiroshi. And then
from Oink Games. I'm loving
Oink
it.
Games, yes. I'm looking at all of these indie developers' names, and they're hilarious. And then Hypnospace Outlaw, and Card Shark, and Manifold Garden, and Subnautica Below Zero, which I'm so happy for.
Oh, there's 2?
Yeah, so there's the main Subnautica game, and then there's Below Zero, which is like the icy tundra lands.
Huh.
How exciting. If you don't remember, that's one of the games that I wanted to come over to the Switch from the last podcast, and it freaking did. I'm so excited. And there's actually been listings of a physical release, so that makes me even more excited.
You know, Hannah, you can dive and swim in Animal Crossing.
Don't even get me started. That's not even close to the same thing.
Carry on.
And then the next one is Garden Story and Evergate and Bear and Breakfast from Gummy Cat Studio.
From Gummy Cat Studio.
Yes, and Armor Games Studios.
How could you turn that down? Bear and Breakfast.
I keep wanting to say beer and breakfast, but that doesn't make any sense either. It's supposed to be bed and breakfast. Anyway, next is a documentary on Netflix called High Score, which I believe it came out today, right?
Came out today, and I'm looking forward to it.
I heard it is worth a watch. And then, as of right now, I hope it's still that way when this podcast comes out, but lots of first-party Switch games are $10 off at various retailers. So that means your Mario Odyssey, your Zelda Breath of the Wild, your Splatoon 2, tons of first-party games.
Yeah, and that's not super common with Nintendo games, in case you don't know.
No, it's not. Unless it's like Black Friday, but it's not. And then next, we all wanted a Direct, so Nintendo answered our prayers and is giving China a Ring Fit Adventure Direct. Isn't that exciting?
I didn't even hear that until you wrote it down.
So exciting for all of us over here. And then next is Retro Studios tweets that they're looking for a lead producer on Metroid Prime 4. How terrifying is that?
Like, what does that mean exactly? I mean, you guys switched developers already, and that was at least a year ago. Maybe 2.
I think it might have been 2 years ago.
Man. The way I see it is they're just not going to settle for anything less than perfect for this game.
I hope that's what that means. And then next is Clubhouse Games. Well, I guess it's Clubhouse 51 Classic Games. I think it's the actual title. And Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition sell over 1 million copies. That's great.
That's each, right?
Yeah, each. No, combined. No, it's each.
That would be a weird headline. That's weird that Clubhouse sold so freaking well.
I know. It's like, it's this massive RPG. Xenoblade Chronicles sells 1 million copies, and they're like, well, hey, this collection of 51 classic games that everyone can play anywhere on the internet, it also sold 1 million, so congrats.
So I take it you didn't buy Clubhouse games?
No, but I kind of want to. Is that sad?
I don't know, I'd probably play it.
I mean, everyone else has it. I mean, 51 classic games, how could you not?
51 games for $60, I mean, that's like $1 a game.
It's not $60. I believe it's only $40.
Wow. Less than $1 a game. I'm on my way to go get it right now.
Yeah, you should. I think Walmart has it for like $33 right now. Even freaking better. And then lastly for me is Nintendo is looking for a 2D level designer for a new action game. So could it be a new Metroid game or a new Mario game for the Switch? Who knows? It's a mystery.
Yep, it's always a mystery. I know Ubisoft is looking for some employees right now for whatever they're working on, and the Rayman people I follow on Twitter are always like on edge, like, come on, leak something.
Oh, you mean it's just another Assassin's Creed game?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my turn. Let's see, we got Cuphead came out on PS4, and I know that's kind of like old news from when this podcast comes out, but still worth mentioning. Mixer is gone. Also kind of old news, but I think that Facebook bought them, or I don't freaking know, but
does it matter?
There's like Facebook gaming now. I hate Facebook, so I'm not even on there for what Facebook's usually used for. I'm sure as heck not going to watch people stream on there. And then we got Splinter Cell, which is getting an anime adaptation on Netflix. Speaking of Ubisoft, yeah, so Ubisoft is giving Splinter Cell some love, and I know that everyone... There's a pretty big community out there for Splinter Cell. Sam Fisher is... I should have wrote this down. Sam Fisher is getting added to whatever Tom Clancy game they're on now, like The Division or whatever. And he's the main character of Splinter Cell. So I think Splinter Cell might be getting like a remake or a new entry. So we'll see where Ubisoft goes with that series. Konami's working on a new game, a new Castlevania game, a new Castlevania mobile game, Moonlight Rhapsody. So take that as you will. I know we have at least one mobile gaming fan listening to this podcast.
Yeah, that's for you, buddy.
Beyond Good and Evil is getting a Netflix movie from the same director that worked on Detective Pikachu. And now that I'm reading this, it's like Ubisoft must have made a deal with Netflix, because that's another Ubisoft title right there. But that one is another one people have been waiting on a sequel for decade or so now. It was a GameCube game. Halo will not be a launch title, but the Xbox Series X is still launching in November of this year. I bet my friend $1.50 that the Xbox would come out this year. So
wow,
she doesn't think it'll happen. So we're gonna see if I get $1.50 out of this.
Dang, well please keep us updated if you get that $1.50.
Microsoft xCloud will not be coming to iOS. Apple says that xCloud and Google Stadia violate the App Store guidelines. Have you heard about this?
No, I have not.
So pretty soon, I think this month or something, the xCloud is launching on Android devices, and you're going to be able to play your Xbox Game Pass games wherever the heck you are in the world. And I think it is just amazing. I think it's so much better than what Google Stadia had tried to do. I guess we're not going to know until it comes out. But anyways, Apple is just like not allowing it, and they're not budging at all, and Xbox is done for now. I'm sure that Apple will come around when they see how successful it is, assuming it'll be successful, but right now you gotta have an Android device for the xCloud.
Jesus, what does Apple hate the freaking gaming community or what?
I know, they're in the bad light right now with the gaming community.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, well, no, I'm not gonna go there. Marvel's Avengers will have Spider-Man exclusively on PS4 release. And we were discussing this a little bit yesterday, but I don't know. It wasn't a huge deal for me. It wasn't the end of the world that Xbox wasn't getting its own exclusive, but it seemed like everybody was really upset about it, even PS4 fans.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, exclusives are just kind of how gaming works. I mean, I guess if I only had an Xbox, I'd be a little salty about it, but
Yeah, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, Spider-Man as a game was exclusive to PS4, and that was fine. I don't understand, but whatever.
Yeah, but then when you put him in another game, angry.
So, speaking of today's topic, Pikmin 3 Deluxe announced for Switch, and Nintendo immediately removed the game from the Wii U eShop. How nice. But that game will be out October 30th, and now there are but 24 Wii U exclusives left.
Oh no.
If you are curious about what those 24 are, I'm going to plug my video right here. Go watch my Wii U exclusives video.
Shameless plug.
Exactly. SNK announces a $500 Neo Geo arcade cabinet with 50 preloaded games on it. You seen this?
Wow. No, $500?
Bro, that's $10 a game. I don't want to hear it. No, I'm just kidding. But it's it looks like the arcade 1-up stuff, kind of. Really, all it is a top half of a arcade cabinet with the screen and the board and everything. But it comes with like a full setup, so the arcade isn't going to be 4 foot tall like the arcade 1-ups. It's going to be regular height, I believe. Yeah, I think $500 is a lot, and they probably could have done $300 or $400, but honestly, it's probably way more bang for your buck than these. I don't know. I have an arcade 1-up, and I made a review about it and everything. It's poorly made, and I think they've gotten better since then, but I'm willing to bet that SNK is going to make a much better product, especially for $500. They better.
Yeah, hopefully they do. They're going to be in some hot water.
But it's nice seeing SNK and Neo Geo a lot lately, honestly. I mean, I didn't know what the heck they were doing for a while there. A Wii and a Wii U game are coming out, and this is definitely old news. I feel like we probably could have mentioned it on the last one, is how old it is. But Hawaii Shakedown is coming for Wii and Wii U, believe it or not. You buying this one?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's going to be the last Wii and Wii U. Well, that's not true. I guess Just Dance could come out for the Wii, but it'll probably be the last Wii U game to come out, right?
Yeah. But I could have said that a year ago about whatever the last Wii U game was a year ago. So I guess that would mean that there would be... Oh, no, that's not an exclusive. Never mind. All right, so Nintendo announces that the Switch will be coming to Brazil shortly. That came up today, and everybody was like, what the heck? Brazil doesn't have a Switch? So I had no idea they were missing out, personally.
I didn't either.
But
so sorry, Brazil.
A couple months ago, remember it came to China? And that was a big deal, so the Switch is going worldwide. Thought it was already worldwide, but... Let's get into the topic of today's episode. Physical media. It's freaking dead. What the heck do we mean by that? Why don't you get us started, Hannah? What do I mean when I say that physical media is dying?
Okay, so unfortunately for all of us collectors out there, physical video games are quickly becoming more obsolete. And we're here to talk all about that in this podcast. Owning movies will probably be on the way out as well. So that means millions and millions of streaming services, which there already are now, but I'm sure there's going to be one for all of the old Fox movies or all the old, what's that one where the guy shoots the arrow? That streaming company, but I'm sure every big company is going to make their own streaming service.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's making streaming services. The death of physical media is upon us, and it's been here for years. I mean, music has been dying for over a decade. Not music, I'm sorry. The physical music.
No, not the music.
So, I mean, we've had MP3 players since, like, the early 2000s, I think.
Same thing with books. We have Kindles now. We don't need books. We have a Kindle app on our phones.
Forget about that because nobody reads books. But the PS5 and Xbox Series X will probably be the final generation to have physical games. Have you thought about that?
I think about it all the time. But I think as far as Sony and Microsoft, it'll probably be the final generation. But I don't know if Nintendo will ever give up physical games.
Ever?
Not
so, like,
in the foreseeable future.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Like the Wii U came out in the middle of... So I guess Nintendo's consoles have been coming out in the middle of console generations, I guess you could say. And the Switch will come out probably halfway through the PS5 and Series X's life cycles. So I could see Nintendo going physical again with whatever the next console is. But I don't know after that. I mean, we're just making predictions here, right? As collectors, we are obviously, I don't know, we hate this kind of stuff. And we'll get into like video game collecting towards the end, but this is something that we've been kind of foreseeing for the last few years as movies have gone on to streaming services, and you know, like, people have just stopped buying games. People have stopped buying physical games as much. People have definitely stopped buying movies. I mean, when Netflix came out, you could still rent your movies, remember, through the mail. Were you aware?
I did know that, but I never did it.
Right. I don't know if anyone, I don't know, maybe when it was early on it was popular, but that's just kind of what we mean. Physical video games is what we're here to talk about because it's a video game podcast, but they're all pretty relevant in this regard.
So let's talk about now why this is happening. So first we're going to go from the consumer's point of view, which is ours, and then we'll go by the companies or the publishers and the developers' point of view.
Sounds good.
So for the consumer's point of view, which would be us, people don't have the space. This is just a minor point, I guess, but people don't have the space to store all their games. Like, most people don't have a dedicated room like you to store all of their physical games, right?
Says the girl with like 3 walls of amiibos. I don't even want to hear
it. Yeah. And then, of course, people want things instantly and they're lazy. Let's be honest. How many times you're like, God, man, I want this. And I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to freaking buy it.
Yep.
That's just how people are being nowadays.
Yep. It's nice to tag on to that. You don't have to get up off the couch to change the game if you already own it, right? That goes on to the lazy thing.
That's true. You don't have to get off the couch, click the off button, or switch the off button off, and then take the disc out or the cartridge, and then put another one in, and then flick it back on, and then walk to the couch.
Back in my day, I had to blow on the cartridge just to get the thing to work.
Oh, exactly. And then finally, storage has become way cheaper now. Like, seriously, a 64 gigabyte SD card is like $10 at any store. That blows my freaking mind. So back in the day, Nintendo game save files were saved onto the actual cartridge. But nowadays, game saves are usually stored externally, unless you have, of course, like a giant hard drive on SD cards. But I mean, it's become so cheap to store it on SD cards, so why not just do that?
Speaking of which, I absolutely need to put a new SD card in my Switch. I'm still working on the original 30 gigs and deleting games when I get a new one. It's the worst.
Oh my god, dude. I've already filled up my 128 gigs, man.
Oh my goodness.
Plus the 32 that it comes with.
All right, so let's get into like the company's point of view here. I think the biggest reason why this is happening in terms of the developers side is it's cheaper, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're making games to make money, and that's it. And if it's going to be cheaper to do it one way, you're going to take that route. Now, I think it is common knowledge, and we've probably talked about it, definitely talked about it with Danny when we interviewed him. Developers and publishers, they're making like pennies. I don't know about publishers. Developers are making pennies on the dollar for each game sold. And that is only made worse, I believe, with physical games, because more money has to be taken out to manufacture a disc and a case. And obviously we don't have manuals anymore, but everything costs money. And so if you can just cut out that medium, developers, publishers are absolutely going to take advantage of that. A bright side of that is more money can be made to make more games, right? So you can get sequels to the games you love. Not selling through a retailer will increase profits. So on top of making the physical disc, physical case and everything, you don't have to go and sell your games to Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop. You can just go straight to the consumer, right? I mean, you do have to go through a digital storefront, which was my next point. You have to pay a small percentage for each sale, I'm assuming. But at the end of the day, you're totally cutting out Walmart and the manufacturer and whatever retailer. And yeah, that's obviously like the biggest reason that companies would rather sell their games digitally than physically. So one thing I want to talk about that comes to mind is Xbox Game Pass. I know I talk about it a lot, maybe not on the podcast, but definitely on Twitter. I love Xbox Game Pass. And this is coming from someone who's a total collector, right? Like I have 1,300 games that I could just pull off the wall and play. But Game Pass is amazing. You have people playing things that they might not have ever played. Just looking at games, they can just click on a trailer. They can watch a 30-second, 1-minute trailer for a game without ever having to even pull out their phone. Like, this is the ultimate convenience / laziness right here. Companies are having their games exposed to people with a Netflix style service. So I think things like this, and we talked about how xCloud is coming to freaking Android devices, like Game Pass, and I'm assuming PlayStation will have, I don't know, I've heard, do you know if PlayStation has a version of this?
I do not believe they do.
So I don't know what PlayStation Now is, but I think they have something along the lines, but whatever, like if they don't have it now, I think everyone's gonna have it. It's just too good of a deal. You pay $15 a month and you have unlimited internet and unlimited like 100+ games to play on Game Pass.
So why is it better to put games in stores? Well, I think the first point, and I know Nintendo has a really big problem with this, but there's overcrowded digital stores. Like I've heard so many indie developers, I mean, Danny talked about it, but they're so overcrowded that you can't even get your games like in front of people's faces.
Yeah, and I've heard just crazy things about like, I don't know, 1,000 or 3,000 games being added digitally every day. Like, it's crazy.
That's so, and most of those aren't even good games. 95% of those aren't even good games.
Shovelware.
Yeah. So for me, from my point of view, or I guess my logic is if I go into a Best Buy, right, and I'm looking for something like a phone charger or an SD card, and I just go take a gander at the video game section, I can't even tell you how many freaking times I've gone in there and have been like, oh, I didn't know that game was out. That game looks interesting. I think I'm going to buy it. You know, it gets the games in front of people's faces.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's not something that I experience a lot, but I do think that is a great, it's just straight up advertisement.
It is. I mean, I was going over there anyway, so why not? And so I guess an interesting question that this brings up is how will retailers like GameStop, which is already dying, we all know that, and stores like Best Buy feel about this move? Like, will they suffer in sales at all? Like, if there's just no video game section at all. I mean, I guess they can still sell, like, digital codes, but I can't imagine they'd be happy about it. I mean, do you think retail companies will struggle? They'll be salty about it.
Well, I mean, you take away the games from GameStop, and what are you left with? Stop? Top? I mean,
Stop.
I mean, GameStop is gonna become a freaking hot topic. They're already selling pops and T-shirts. I mean, there's nothing left after GameStop loses all their video games, right? I mean, no one's gonna get off the couch to go buy a digital code from GameStop.
No, I doubt it. I mean, unless they become like just a retro reseller, that could always happen.
That is true, and yeah, you hear these things about how they're gonna have like the CRTs and the couches set up. You've seen those articles?
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe they're still planning to go that route.
Well, Reggie's on the team now, so I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. And then another thing would be the Death of Gamefly, which, if you don't know what that is, I guess it's a subscription service, right? That you sign up for and pay whatever a month, and then they send you whatever game you want. But I believe it's only one at a time, isn't it?
So I looked it up yesterday when I was making the notes for this, and you can have like a $7. There's like one subscription to pay for one game at a time, and then another subscription to have 2 games at a time.
Wow, 2 games at a time. That's crazy. So companies like that, I mean, they're gonna go the way of the dodo, because obviously no one's gonna want the physical games. They'll just freaking buy it or Game Pass it.
Right, and well, what is first of all is interesting to me is Gamefly still exists, right? That's amazing to me. What is that company? Freaking Blockbuster, right? We had Blockbusters as kids, but how did that work out? They're dead. Now we have Redbox, and that's probably on its last limb too. Even Redbox stopped renting out games, I believe. So I guess you could say Gamefly ran them into the dirt in that regard, but I doubt it, because I don't know a single person who's ever had Gamefly. Do you?
No, I do not. I don't know anyone that goes on Gamefly other than to buy their premium games.
I actually read an article that there was, in 2015, 1 million monthly subscribers to Gamefly.
Jeez,
I can't
really?
even imagine. That was 5 years ago. That was during the Wii U, PS4, and Xbox One life. And I didn't know a single soul that had ever rented anything from Gamefly. 1 million monthly subscribers. I swear it's like soccer moms that like they gave the kid their credit card and now they have that monthly fee and they don't even realize what it is. That's got to be 500,000 worth of their subscribers.
Oh my god. I didn't even realize that.
And then I also was looking into it. Gamefly had a streaming service. I have no idea how this worked, but all you needed was an Xbox controller and a smart TV. That lasted for 3 years. It was 2015 to 2018, and people called it the Netflix of gaming when it came out. I probably could have done more research on this, but I don't know. Maybe Gamefly will have to go back down that road. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably too late for Gamefly. I feel like they're dead.
Sorry, Gamefly.
But they're still popping up on Cartoon Network with their commercials. So talk to me about some pros to digital media. Like, what are some things that we as gamers and collectors could possibly benefit from having all of our games on a digital library?
Well, you don't have to worry about your games getting damaged.
You know what comes to mind immediately is GameStop. How whenever you go, I guess you don't go there often, but when you go to GameStop and you buy a used game, they're like, or a new game, they're like, this is what could happen to your game. Do you want to pay for the $3 fee? Have you seen that? And it's like this disc that's been thrown across the freaking parking lot, run over a few times. It's hilarious. But anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's exactly what I think about. But yeah, so if there's like an earthquake or like a flood, or if like your house gets hit by an asteroid,
right?
Your game. Well, I mean, if it gets hit with an asteroid, it's probably gonna destroy your Xbox or your PlayStation, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to get damaged. They're not going to get scratched. They're not going to get dropped. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about. And then another thing is you can buy a game at midnight when all the game stores are closed. So that's a big deal for somebody who like is really excited for a game and they want to buy it as soon as it comes out, as soon as midnight rolls around, and then they're playing it. Whereas people like me who only buy it physically on day one have to wait until like 10 a.m. until the stores open. By that time, somebody's already been playing it for 10 hours.
That could have been you staying up all night.
I know, but I got a good night's sleep and had to drive to the store. Along the same lines as you can also buy a game instantly from the digital stores and play it. So you're like, I want to play Overcooked 2. So I buy it, and then I download it, and then I play it.
As long as I have internet.
Right, as long as you have the internet. And then also another big thing is you don't have to worry about games being sold out.
Which is actually a big thing, especially during coronavirus.
Yeah, or like limited printing or whatever else. You don't have to worry about it because it's on a digital store.
And like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to get up to change the game because we're lazy.
Yep, people are super, super duper lazy.
So let's talk about some pros to physical media. We talked about digital media a little bit, and it's great. You can be lazy and everything, but for all my people that want to get off the couch and change their game, let's see some pros here. First of all, you don't have to worry about a game being permanently removed from a digital store. Remember what happened with PT, Hideo Kojima's game, or almost game? Remember what happened like a couple weeks ago with Pikmin 3? Removed from the Wii U eShop. You can no longer buy that. But yeah, I mean, that's just a few examples. The other one I have here is Ducktales, which was removed by Capcom probably for some Disney licensing stuff. And I remember the physical game went up in price drastically. But at least you can play it if you have it physically. So that is like a huge pro right there to physical media. Now, when it comes to current gen games, physically, I don't have to worry about downloading some of them. I mean, a lot of games these days, especially Xbox, PlayStation, you have to download like half the game, maybe more. But there are some games that you don't have to download anything, which brings me to my next little sub point here. You don't need internet to play anything you own. So I'm pretty sure the way it works is like, even if you own a physical game on your Xbox or PS4, the only thing you're really downloading off the internet, if I'm right about this, is like update patches and stuff. So most of the stuff is coming off of the disc and being downloaded onto the console. So I can play a game 20 years from now, even if it's not supported by Sony and Microsoft, which is definitely a pro to physical media. And moving on, we have games can be resold. What do I mean by that? If you don't like your digital game, if I buy Pikmin 3 on my Switch digitally, and then I hate it, I'm stuck with it. That's all there is to it. You cannot resell a game because there's no 7-day warranty or whatever, and I can't put it on OfferUp, right? So if I hated the game and I bought it on Switch physically, I could sell it for $50 instead of $60 on OfferUp. But with a digital game, you're pretty much stuck with it. Digital games are monetarily worthless. That's the sad truth.
Yeah. So personally for me, I guess I can't speak for anyone else, but if someone's selling like a Switch, right, and it's got 60 digital games, and they sell it for like $600, $700 because they're like, yeah, these games that I bought are worth $60 each, I'm like, dude, that's useless for me. Like, I don't know if this is just like a collector's point of view, but like, I don't care if it's got 60 games on it. I can't see the games. Like, I can't hold the games. It's useless because then I can't resell them, like you said.
I completely agree. And I'm such a person to like, I want my account on my console. So I'm not just going to like buy a used console with those 60 games on it and then use that guy's account for the rest of my life. Like, I want that personalized, this is my account, and I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people think that's dumb, but that's just me. And I don't know. I don't want, what I'm trying to say is if I log out, I'm not going to have those 60 digital games. They're not restricted to the console. They're restricted to the profile.
Oh, see, that's something I didn't even think about. But yeah, that's true. So they're worthless.
Worthless. Unless you want to be Jimmy629 from OfferUp. You like that?
Yeah.
It's my boy Jimmy629. All right, so we're going to... another physical pro here. Special editions, collector's editions, limited editions. They are not going to be with us anymore. At least that's what I wrote until I realized that Sonic Mania came out. The first time it came out, it had a beautiful collector's edition or limited or whatever. And do you remember what I'm talking about with the Sonic statue? He's standing on the Genesis.
Yeah, holding the ring or whatever. Yeah.
And it came with a Genesis cartridge with a freaking ring in it. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. And it came with a digital code. Why? I have no clue, but it does make me think that this is something we could totally see in the future.
I'm torn on that because obviously you're still getting all the cool fun stuff, but I don't know. I like being able to display my games on the shelf. Obviously.
Yeah, I'm pretty like, I care a lot about getting things physically, but you are very serious about it. I mean, you're very good at waiting for limited run to come out with something that you want to play.
Yes. I don't know if I'm very good at it or I'm just super stubborn and I don't want to buy it digitally, but yeah. And usually if it's a good game that everyone's talking about, it'll come at some point. You just have to be patient.
Is that Bug game coming out? That Bug Paper Mario game getting a physical?
Yeah, Bug Fables. Yeah, it is. It's getting a limited run games, but limited run print, I guess you'd say, but it doesn't have a date confirmed yet.
That makes
unfortunately.
sense. That was just one that came to mind. And then opposite of what I said or what we had said, your collection has value. So you literally, it doesn't matter how many games you have, 66,000, your collection is worthless on your digital library. So I do think that I could totally see something being made where you don't have to, like, I don't know, you didn't get to like 20% through the game, you can return it digitally and get like half your money back or something, like some kind of warranty to where like you're just like, okay, I hated it and I don't want this anymore. I don't know.
I want to say there was something like that, but I don't remember who did it or where it came from, but I swear there was something like that.
But I mean, we have demos out, we have demos on the eShop and stuff. There's no way that, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see in the future. But let's talk about the next gen consoles real quick. So we have the Xbox One S right now even has an all digital edition, and that came out probably 2 years ago, and it was
something like that.
It was like the first. I don't want to say the first and be wrong later, but Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft. This was the first time we saw an all digital console, and now we're seeing in 2020 the Xbox Series X is going to be released with a disc drive, but there has been no confirmation of a different model being released without a disc drive. So that's something I find interesting. And meanwhile, the PS5 has already stated they're going to release a discless and a disc full version. Anyways, the PS5 will have both versions, and I don't know, I'm wondering how long they will keep releasing both versions. I wonder how long it's going to be before they just say, screw it, y'all are going to get only the digital or only the physical version. And I'm curious to see how well the PS5 all digital will sell. It's $50 cheaper, I believe. Oh wait, no, nothing's confirmed about the PS5's price, but I'm assuming it'll be $50 cheaper.
I mean, I guess that makes sense internally because they don't have to have a disc drive, but
that disc drive's not $50.
Well, yeah, but doesn't mean they don't think it's worth $50. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it just depends on where we are with physical media in the next. Well, I mean, a console life is what, 7 years, 8 years, sometimes 5 years.
Yeah.
So it depends on where we'll be.
Sometimes 5 years at Wii U.
Sorry,
at N64.
Sorry.
So another thing I just want to quickly mention, I'm not sure like how this isn't a big deal, but we are focusing a lot for some reason on backwards compatibility. I remember talking about it in the news in the last episode, but backwards compatibility is a big selling point apparently for the Xbox Series X and I don't think it's been confirmed for PS5. I don't know. Something weird's going on with PS5. Anyways, backwards compatibility is no longer going to matter because no one's going to have a disc drive in a few years, right? So there's not going to be anything backwards compatible about these consoles. You're not going to be able to stick your original Xbox game in your Xbox 5 or that was just I don't even know. Whatever comes after.
Xbox 720.
Yeah. But yeah, backwards compatibility is going to be dead, and we're just going to remember sticking our Wii games into our Wii U and being thankful for it. It won't be a thing in 2027, let's say.
2027, yeah. I mean, unless they let you... I mean, I'm sure they won't because they're going to make you want to pay that. But if you bought a game on your PS17, right, and you wanted it to be... and you wanted that game to be upgraded, so you'd have to buy it again on the next console, right? Unless you can, like, transfer it somehow, but I doubt it because they're probably going to make you want to spend another $150. Who knows how much games are going to be then.
I want to take a picture of my copy of Crash Bandicoot, send it to Sony via email, and say, look, I own this game. I already bought it a few times. I want you to put it on my digital library. That's backwards compatibility right there.
Yep. Perfect.
So let's take a look at how good digital sales have been. I mean, especially during COVID. Lately, I saw an article that said that 83% of video games and computer games sold were digital in 2018. That is a huge amount. And obviously they had computer games in there, so Steam was included, but that is still so many. But yeah, especially during COVID, I can only imagine how many people were not able to get to GameStop to buy Animal Crossing for their Switch, so they just bought it on the eShop. I mean, it cost the same.
Or how many people were like, oh my god, I'm so gosh darn bored. Everyone's talking about this Animal Crossing game. Let's just buy it. Right.
The people that already had a Switch and they're getting on Twitter. Animal Crossing is a prime example of this just because it has just been ridiculously popular.
And it came out at like the right time.
Prime time. I think Nintendo's behind coronavirus. Confirmed. There we go.
Conspiracy theorists over here.
But yeah, I think digital sales, it's no secret that you see articles all the time. PlayStation has sold more games for this game digitally than they have physically. Or Capcom, I see it a lot. It's just where we're headed. So what does this mean for video game collectors exactly? Well, there's going to be a finite amount of games made, right? So then technically, me as a video game collector, I could own every single video game ever physically made.
If you had the wallet deep enough. Yeah.
In due time, Hannah. But I guess at the opposite end of the spectrum, you could collect every digital game as well.
Yeah, if it doesn't ever get removed.
Until they stop making them.
If you have enough space.
No, that's not a thing. If I start seeing digital video game collectors on social media, that's when I'm gonna quit.
That would be so funny. Yeah, I have every single game. I mean, could you imagine though? If there's 3,000 games released every day on whatever platform, right. Could you imagine how much money that would be? Even if they're only $1.
Right.
That's insane.
That's not a thing, but if it becomes a thing, I'm out.
It might become a thing. How do you know?
What are you gonna say? Yeah, I've got this worthless collection here, literally worthless. Let me make an Instagram sharing my worthless collection. It'll just be screenshots of my Steam library.
Yeah, but if everything's all digital and 15 years from now, yeah, man, that's gonna be the reality. We're gonna be obsolete. No one's gonna care about us anymore.
Well, good. I want to hear what the audience thinks about this. Do I need to start investing in digital video games? Do I need to sell my collection? Drop a comment. Well, I think that about wraps it up. It's kind of a short one today, but like I said, or like Hannah said, this is part one of a little two-parter here with the death of physical media, and next we're going to be talking about limited run games, super rare games, and all those guys. And so where can the people find you, Hannah?
Game Girl Advance SP on Instagram.
She doesn't play video games very much, but Game Girl Advance is where you can find her. Game Girl Advance SP. I am at That Gamer Nerd on Instagram and Bird Dog Gaming everywhere else. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time for episode 9 of the Unlockable podcast.
See ya.